to limited manpower capacity. So in terms of our child protection specialists, these were some of the questions that were requested of the Department of Education. These are the skill sets that are required for them to do, particularly address any LRP concerns the field, and at the same time consolidate any information that's related to bullying efforts, child abuse cases, and ascertain compliance with existing protocols, but basically ensure that there is a proper rollout of existing policies from the child protection policy to the anti-bullying policy. In terms of the trained CPCs, over the past few years, we have done several rounds of training. And if we will look at it as of the 2018 data, we have about 290 child protection specialists. And since its establishment in 2021, we now have about 276. So if you notice, there are changes in terms of the number of CPCs, because basically we train regional focal personnel, school heads, registered guidance counselors, guidance designates, PDOs, and all of these personnel are basically adding the CPC function to their existing function, not as a dedicated function. And therefore, when there are personnel movements and they are either promoted or transferred, their capability to directly participate in the child protection efforts can also become compromised. So our goal right now is to have at least dedicated personnel for every region that's sole function would be to focus on child protection. Right now, we have about two that is coordinating with our Learner Rights and Protection Office. It's about two per region, but our goal is to have at least one personnel in every school. But we know that that is a very large ask, given that there is a substantial financial requirement for such. And our goal is in the interim, at least have four child protection specialists per region that can cascade the information down to personnel that can be trained at the regional division and school level. So just a quick update in terms of our total number of guidance designates in our school. We have about 26,261 schools that have guidance designates and about 10,400 that do not. And this is done in tandem with our total number of registered guidance counselors. For the reference of the committee, we have about 1,131 filled positions for guidance counselors. And our goal is to eventually fill these positions, especially that the Mental Health Promotion and Wellbeing Act, particularly for schools, has recently been signed into law, and also the IRR. So we do hope that we will be given the budget to hire additional personnel, particularly our school counselor associates, and eventually convert these guidance counselors into the school counselor position that has higher pay. And just some quick highlights in terms of some of the solutions that we're working on. First and foremost would be our helpline. It's hashtag 3373 or hashtag DepEd, to those who are still familiar with the numeric keypad. And our integration of the anti-bullying and rights-based approach to the K-12 curriculum. So our goal is to make the teaching manual for children's rights more readily available and effectively rolled out in schools. And this is also being discussed as part of the core components of the ongoing curriculum revision. And of course, in terms of the role of the Child Protection Committee functionality assessment tool, we hope to have that implemented and rolled out to the remaining 45,000 plus schools, so that we can get a better picture of the current needs of our schools for CPCs, and the ongoing capacity building programs for child protection to non-teaching personnel, inclusive of our regular observances for the National Children's Month and the rollout of SBC materials. At present, we're working with the Second Congressional Commission on Education to revise the anti-bullying IRR, and we're currently at the moment focused on the DepEd level write-shops to finalize our anti-bullying IRR changes. Same goes with the localized policy on safe spaces. In fact, Mr. Chair, we also have already some key components of the anti-bullying IRR that we hope can be modified, particularly allowing us to designate personnel as discipline officers, and at the same time, um, allowing us to become more definite in terms of the forms of bullying that are acknowledged, and even at the same time identifying the key offices and officials that are in charge of learner rights and protection, both at the national and regional offices and even up to the school level. And also, there's a big emphasis on the localization of the policies, because right now, in terms of rollout, there is room for growth, given that in terms of the policies of bullying, the schools are encouraged to develop their own, and this allows for a lot of gray area for interpretation as well. There is no one is to one kind of conversion wherein, for example, if there should be a significant difference between, let's say, a physical altercation and severe vandalism or pornography in school or incidences of rape or more severe kinds of abuse. So there must be a proper juxtaposition between the crime and at the same time the punishment, whether it would be just a suspension, expulsion, or otherwise. And at the same time, provide clear sanctions so that in the event that the schools are unable to generate their own child protection policies, there is a standard policy that they can adopt immediately following DepEd guidance. And we do hope that this can be cascaded to schools, wherein even in private schools, wherein in the absence of such, they might not be accredited if they do not have a child protection policy for implementation, or if it's deemed that the child protection policies are ineffective even in the private schools. That's all, Mr. Chair, for your reference.
Thank you for that. Let's go back to slide 18. This is a slide on solutions provided by DepEd. As I mentioned, slide 18, 1-8 there. As I mentioned during my opening speech, marami kasi dito sa mga batang to, lumaki na sila na merong ganong pananaw, no? Na ang bullying ay okay lang, o ang bullying pwede nilang gawin, o yung bullying ay accepted. Kaya isa sa mga intervention ng Senado ay yung good manners and right conduct, no? And I really believe in that. That's why that's the only subject in the whole list of subject of DepEd na legislated, no? Batas talaga siya, because we believe that GMRC will help address bullying by inculcating good manners and right conduct at the beginning of the school age, or at the beginning of the schooling of the child. So maaga pa lang tuturuan na natin siya ng good manners and right conduct. Pero I understand that right now hindi pa siya fully implemented. It's only implemented in grades 1, 4, and 7 this coming school year 2024 to 25. But in the IRR of the same law, in section 16.3, can we flash that? And let me just read it. The shift from teaching of edukasyon sa pagpapakatao to GMRC and values education shall be fully implemented by school year 2022 to 2023 in all public schools. So dapat in school year 2022-2023 implemented na siya. So why the delay? Because ito yung solution na sa atin na, pero hindi natin ini-implement eh. No? So bakit tayo nagkaroon ng delay in terms of implementation of the good manners and right conduct? Well, in fact, sa IRR, we'll flash it, no? Section 16.3, nakasulat doon by 2022-2023, implemented na. My point of the matter here is, my point of the matter here is, yung CPC, Child Protection Committee, or yung Anti-Bullying Committee, these are reactive na ito eh. Nandiyan na yung bata eh. Ganyan na yung kanyang pananaw eh.